So in this video, we are going to cover how to stop self-sabotaging. Now, this is one of the most frustrating things in business and in general life, really, with health and fitness or relationships or various other things that are important to us. Because what will often be happening is we're in a state of flow. Things are going well, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we just hit a brick wall. And the thing that's so frustrating about it is it's extremely hard to identify and figure out why this is happening, because we're working towards things that we're telling ourselves we want, we're telling ourselves that we're dedicated to and that are important to us. So why on earth would it make sense for us to self-sabotage? And logically it doesn't make any sense. But when we self-sabotage, it's a clue that there's something going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. And in this video, I want to give you a very specific and direct exercise to start to uncover what that is and then how to avoid it. So as you're watching this, if you like what you're seeing, and by the way, if you have any perspective to add, I would love to hear down below in the comments. Just comment any advice, guidance, tips, thoughts, anything you've got which can help other people around this topic of self-sabotaging, or even an experience of when you've self-sabotaged in the past yourself. And also, if you like it, don't forget to subscribe. Now, when we're self-sabotaging, there's often a hidden meaning that we have created and attached to what success means to us. And this is super important because we've got to recognize that human beings are built to survive. We're not built to, be incredibly abundant and happy and fulfilled and pursue all these big goals. That's not how we're wired internally. The way that we're wired is so that we essentially will stay within our comfort zone, stay within what's perceived as our safe zones, like our safety, and that makes us, in evolutionary terms, more likely to survive. And we've got to recognize that any time we're venturing outside of, or we perceive that we're about to venture outside of our comfort zones, that can very often be perceived as a threat to our subconscious. And that's when self-sabotage will happen. It's when we're moving into unknown territory and something that's, we're perceiving as a threat is coming up, often subconsciously. And then what will happen is we'll make sure we block ourselves from going into that uncertain, unknown territory by self-sabotaging and staying nice and safe within our comfort zones, which ultimately, evolutionary terms, keeps us alive. So an exercise that we can do is when we're looking at the area of our lives that we're either successfully working on at the moment or that we've just self-sabotaged in, and we can ask ourselves, what meanings are we attaching, right? What's coming up for us? What meanings are we attaching to succeeding? What would it mean to us to succeed? What other areas of our life would we have to look at, and would we have to change, and would we have to consider? And if you can start to uncover what's going on behind the scenes, what meanings we've created, those are the areas that are going to need attention so that we can stop ourselves self-sabotaging. So I'll give you an example, right? Let's say in business, we've started getting traction, we started getting results, we've seen revenue start to grow, and all of a sudden we're entering into this unknown territory. We've got excess cash that we're then going to have to deal with and figure out how to invest. Maybe the fear of then losing that cash, that revenue, is going to start to increase because we're now operating at a higher level. And what does it mean to fail? As our revenue goes up, chances are our expenses are going to start to go up as well. And the hidden meanings behind that could be that there's much more of a perceived risk if we mess up, because now we're dealing with, tens of thousands instead of thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars or whatever. And so if we can start to uncover and identify the hidden meanings around what success will actually look like, what we'll really have to deal with in terms of new challenges, those are the areas that we can then start to work on to avoid self-sabotage. And a really good radar or gut check or whatever you want to call it around this is look at what sort of discomfort and concerns, whenever you can use your emotions and use your feelings as a really good guide to point your attention in the right direction of where we need to focus, right? So You can use your feelings, like what's coming up for you when you look at your goal, as like a little bit of an uncertainty or like a bit of hesitation or something that we don't really want to consider because it's uncomfortable. So use your feelings as a guide. What is it when you think about your goals, you think about your vision, you look at your results, if there's a feeling of unease, like something that starts to come up, hone in on that, because that's the thing that's going to trigger self-sabotage. All right? So if you do this and you can uncover some hidden meanings and you can uncover some feelings, some emotions that are coming up for you that are giving you that little bit of a sense of uneasiness, of uncertainty, and then focus on those areas, what you can then start to do is take preventative measures to upgrade and level up in those areas of your life. And then the next step is, once you've identified an area that might need a bit of attention and a bit of focus, look at the language that you use when you talk about that area. So again, for example, say in business, you've started to generate more revenue. Now, typically the language that we'll use that will lead to things like self-sabotage is going to be, we've generated more revenue, or we're generating more revenue, but there's a higher risk of now failing, right? Or we're generating more revenue, but the problem now is that we need to invest carefully, or whatever it is, right? Look at how you word this fear or this concern. And the key word is but. Whenever we create this but, what we're doing is we're limiting ourselves by the problem. We're keeping ourselves trapped by the problem. And so a super simple trick is switch the word but for the word and. Okay, so we generated more revenue and we need to now look at how to invest more sensibly or more powerfully, or learn to invest. You know, it could be we generated more revenue and now we need to manage our costs, our outgoings more effectively. The word but will lead us down the fear rabbit hole, like this is a limitation, this is something that's constraining us, this is something to be wary of. But the and parameter makes us realize that they're two completely unrelated things, right? We generated more revenue and needing to learn to invest that revenue more responsibly. They're two completely unrelated and completely separate things. And just this little switch in language can really help us focus on what we would perceive as problems and reasons to self-sabotage. We can shift the focus from this problem-focused mindset into a solution-focused mindset. Just one simple word. All right, so thanks very much for watching this. I hope this is useful. As I said, like the video if you've enjoyed it. Comment below if you've got a perspective to share around self-sabotage. And also, don't forget to hit subscribe. You'll see that in the bottom corner right now. I do three videos like this every week. So make sure that you don't miss out by hitting subscribe, hitting the notification bell, and you'll get an alert when the next one goes up. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now.